We on. We live. Hey.
Hey.
Hey everyone. Yes, I am finally here on YouTube, back on YouTube, because I actually used to be on YouTube. But I got somehow I made my way to Instagram and got stuck on Instagram. So I said, let me get on back to YouTube and do these predictions on YouTube and talk about cardology on YouTube. And I have Keisha with me. How are you? Don't put yourself on mute.
Hi everyone. I'm
My,
Keisha.
she's my her official label is gonna be my official soundboard. I'm a projector, y'all. So I need a soundboard. And she's awesome. She's been awesome already. So this is gonna go real good. Hey. So we're gonna talk about the United States and what's coming up for the 4th of July. I do this forecast every year, right? And people don't understand how important this forecast is. They figure, oh, it's just the USA. You know what that got to do with me? You live here. That's what it got to do with you. It got everything to do with you. So when you get the forecast, you can figure out things like what's going to be popular. Of course, we talk about all the crazy stuff. We want to know what crazy stuff is coming down the pipeline too, right? But what is the money gonna look like? We want to know what's the money gonna look like. We want to know what industries are gonna be popping, because even if it's the end of the world, I'm telling you, there's gonna be popping industries. Even if it's gonna be a recession, there's going to be popping industries. That's how energy works. It goes from one side to the next. So if energy leaves the left side, it goes to the right side. You know what I mean? So it just doesn't just leave everybody in the dust. That's not how energy works, and that's not how cardology works. It could be bad for some people and it could be good for others, right? I like to use the example. I know a lot of people used to like to watch The Walking Dead. And the reason why I like The Walking Dead is because it was like a soap opera in the middle of a disaster, right? So, in the middle of a disaster, they were literally zombies. It was the end of the world, but people were living their lives. They were attempting to go on with their lives despite the fact there was a zombie invasion going on, right? So, you saw storylines like people having babies, you saw people falling in love, you saw people doing regular stuff, right? So this was designed to show you that life goes on. And typically, while the so called proverbial shit is hitting the fan, you still have to build. And even more so, people are going to need normalcy. People are going to want normalcy. And I think that this is going to be something that's very important in the next couple of years, building and building normalcy while the shit is hitting the fan. You know what I mean? So, hey, DR in the building. Everybody's in the building. How y'all doing? ATL's in the building, of course. George is in the house. We got New York in the house. I got to give y'all a good little shout out. Hey. So, you definitely have to and I think that you know what, this is a witch's thing, right? The witches or the spiritual people, they were instrumental in helping to build some normalcy for people, because imagine if people didn't have the soothsayers, and all those other stuff, and they just got hit with stuff, they wouldn't know what's next. What do I do next? What do I do now? And that's what our real job is. Our real job is not just to give you the forecast on what's coming up or to tell you or predict, give you predictions. Our real job is to prepare you. So, what can we do? How can we build? How can we come out of this thing successful? That's our real job. And that's what I really want to do. You know what I mean? And I'm New York's in the house. I know I'm
Yeah.
glad y'all ain't too mad at me, because you know what, I've been talking about New York, and I'll get into New York too. But y'all gotta understand, I've been telling people to leave New York for a very long time. You know what I mean? But I know how New Yorkers are. New Yorkers are stubborn.
We don't
We got
listen. We stay here.
yeah, we got a New Yorker on the line right now. We got a New Yorker co-host in the house, right? So she knows. I know how New Yorkers are because I'm a New Yorker. I haven't been a New Yorker for over 20 years. but I'm still a New Yorker. So I know how New Yorkers don't like to give up. You know what I mean? Like we endure. We're like, I'm not giving, I'm not failing. Failing's not an option. That's how you look at it. But you gotta look at it as growing and expanding. In cardiology, oftentimes it's necessary for you to move. A lot of people come to me and, for readings and they're stuck. Things are not going the way that they're going. So I always examine the most obvious. I'm like, are you in the place where you're supposed to be that's actually going to support that? You know what I mean? That's like one of the first things I tell them. And then if they're not ready to make that move, the next thing I tell them is, why don't you go on a trip, go on a vacation, do something to change up the energy? Because when you go to another place, number one, you're evoking the Five of Hearts, which is a very changeable energy, because that's the card of going on a vacation. Then you're going to another place that has its own energy, right? So you get to go there and your body, your energy is being reconfigured to where you go, right? So that's giving you a little bit of a boost. So when you come back, you can expect that there are going to be changes in your life. You can expect that you're going to be more ready to make a change. So that's why travel is very important. So I tell people, I was like, if you can't move, at least travel, at least go on a trip. That's why some people, before they make a major decision, they go to the beach, because that's still like a travel. That's a Five of Hearts thing, you know? So they get there, they get to travel, they get to touch that water, and it's going to make some energy configuration for them too, you know? So, that's what you may need to do is summertime, and think of how blessed you are. Like, you getting these messages right before the summer. If you was in New York and you just recently went through that episode of the Visit from Mars episode that y'all just went through, it happened before the summer. So literally, spirit is giving you the whole entire summer to get it together. See how loved you are? Like, somewhere out there, the spirits love you. You know what I mean? Because no, they don't just let a rock get thrown on your head and you just, lay down. They give you plenty of warnings, but it's up to you to start seeing the signs. That's what this is about. And that's what people like me are here for, to help you to become more aware of the signs and act on the signs, period. So, hey, shout out to everybody coming in the house and supporting me today. I'm going to try to not make this so doomy. It's a Five of Diamonds day, by the way. And the Five of Diamonds day deals with volatility in markets. It deals with money. So that tells me that a large portion of this reading that's coming up for the United States has to do with money, right? Not only does it have to do with money, but it has to do with values. People's values are changing. Things that used to be important to you is not going to be important to you anymore. You're going to have new things that are going to be important to you. You're undergoing a shift in your values. And a shift in your values is going to bring you to somewhere else. You know what I mean? And it's going to give you the courage to go to that someplace else. And it's going to give you the courage to grow like you need to grow. One of the most famous psychics that I always talk about, Edgar Cayce, was a Five of Diamonds, right? And the Five of Diamonds actually has a Jack of Diamonds and Neptune. The Jack of Diamonds is the card of the United States, right? So Edgar Cayce used to talk about all of the things that the United States could expect coming down the pipeline. Like, there were going to be, land masses moving and all this other stuff that was going to be coming in the future. So those were the types of things that he used to talk about, was America and the future of America. And guess what? That's what we about to talk about. We about to talk about the future of America. So this is the best day to do it, on a Five of Diamonds day. Five of Diamonds sometimes can be a little doomy though, because it has the Two of Clubs in Saturn. So there could be fears that get interjected. But I'm going to try my damnedest to be as uplifting and enlightening as possible, and not so doomy, y'all. Right?
And
so one of the things, what's up?
And before you go forward, can you tell the audience about how cardiology can actually help them within their next move? How they can move Yeah, according to
Yeah,
the name of the state, the name of the city, even including numerology, how the number of the place is connected to a card, etc. Because that actually helped me. I went backwards and tapped into one of your resources on your site. And I went back to even my childhood homes and stuff and read the energy. And I'm like, hmm,
yeah,
it all
yeah. It's very
resonated. So,
helpful. It's very helpful. As a matter of fact, if you go on my website, which let me pop my website down here so you'll at least know. If you go to aquariusmaximus.com, and by the way, I do have a coupon that I'm giving y'all for July 4th to book a reading. You get $100 off of a full reading. But if you go to my website, I got lots of free tools for y'all. I'd be like, yo, you have the cards of the states there. You know, you got now I've added meanings up there. I've added the Grand Solar Spreads, and also there's a free ebook on the Grand Solar Spreads page. So if you don't know how to read the Grand Solar Spreads, I literally gave y'all a book to teach you how to read the Grand Solar Spreads. Now, what are the Grand Solar Spreads? You're going to see me use the Grand Solar Spreads right now. These are a set of spreads. These are yearly spreads. They go by the age. So when you go to a cardologer and you get a yearly reading, they're reading off of these spreads. So they may read the age, you're 29 years old, they may read the age 29 spread of cards. You're 30, the age 30 spreads. Now, the United States is like 250 something years old. So there are only 90 spreads. So we have to take and calculate what spread, because it resets after 90. We have to calculate what spread the United States is on. Currently, the United States is on age 66. That's this year. So we're going to look at the age 66. I'm going to go over some of the things that have already happened and are going on. And then we're going to jump to the age 67 spread. And that's where I'm going to go into some of the things that you're going to see. Another thing I wanted to add is the 3-month period before your birthday. That is usually a preview period of what's to come, right? So some of the things have already started playing out, you know? So I want you to think about some of the themes that have popped out, like the incident in New York that played out, right? Another theme that's been playing out is I've been seeing trucks burning a lot everywhere, right? Interestingly, last month I was driving on 85 and there was 2 trucks on fire, and the fire department hadn't made it yet. So literally I had to drive super close to these trucks. This is the closest I've ever been to anything burning up like that on fire. I could feel the fire, right? Now, remember, I told you you're supposed to pay attention to the signs. So I said to myself, what does this mean? What is this trying to tell me? You know, that's what you need to do when you see things happen. You need to stop. You need to take it in, take a mental note, because it is important. It is giving you some signals of what's coming on. So, yes, someone mentioned a truck collapse in the bridge last week. That's what made me think about it, because not only when that did that happen, but when that happened, someone sent me an inbox of another truck on fire that they saw. And I went and looked, and there's been truck fires. There was a truck fire on 285, etc. So when I think of trucks, I think of the 5 of spades. So remember that, because the 5 of spades is like vehicles that transport things from one side to the next. So I think of 5 of spades. And a lot of times when a person has a 5 of spades or 5 of clubs, they become a truck driver or they start a trucking company. So remember that card in mind, and we'll see if that comes up in a year. So we got trucks, right? So what else do trucks do? Trucks transport, and they transport food. You know what I mean? So we got to think about that. This is a 7 of hearts year, you guys. And the 7 of hearts has a 5 of spades, which is the card for trucks. And it has a 5 of spades in, hold up, y'all. Let me look. Let me look at the 7 of hearts spread. It has a 5 of spades in Venus, right? So notice that we're in Venus season, because we're in Taurus. We're in Taurus season, and Venus rules Taurus. So these things have been happening. This incident just happened during Taurus season. that's one of the things you can do when you look at the spread for a cardology. The planets actually are associated with the signs. So when you look at a card that's in a planet, this also means that, okay, this has to do with the sign as well. So Venus has to do with Taurus and Libra because that rules Taurus and Libra. So we look and see what card is in Venus for the year for the United States, right? And we know that it's going to kick off in Libra season and in Taurus season. So these are just some of the ways that we reread the cards, and I'm trying to demystify that. Somebody said, funny, my question just got answered. Trucks are used to transport supplies. So yeah, they use to transport supplies, and we're also talking about food. And I think that food insecurity is going to be a big, big thing coming up. Food security or food insecurity. Interestingly, Jupiter is in Taurus, right? And Taurus, we all know we like to eat. We like to eat good food. And Taurus is usually going to bring a lot of energy around wanting to eat good food. I'm telling you, since Jupiter went into Taurus, I've been eating like nobody's business. And I'm like, oh, I got to chill. I'm like, no, I don't like that. You know,
I'm
food
a Taurus. I've been
actually
eating
tastes
on
better.
my
Huh?
and I'm a Taurus sun, so I've been eating my whole life.
Oh my gosh. It's
Yeah.
almost like the Queen of Hearts. When you have a Queen of Hearts in your yearly spread, especially in Jupiter, you're going to eat a lot. Like your waistline is going to expand. Usually when you have a Queen of Hearts in Jupiter, you got to watch out for your waistline for you gaining weight. A Queen of Hearts anywhere will make you gain weight, but especially in Jupiter. And the Queen of Hearts is the mom card, the pregnant mother, right? So literally you will be like a pregnant mother. You'll get cravings and stuff like that when you have a Queen of Hearts. And some people will smoke a little extra weed. You know what I mean? That type of thing as well. So I'm pretty sure with Jupiter and Taurus, it's not even just about food, but it's about other indulgences as well. But definitely food for me. I noticed that food tastes better. That's what I noticed. I'm a Jupiter ruled person. My moon is Jupiter ruled. I have a Sagittarius moon. So that means that Jupiter rules my moon, right? So moon already, you talking about food, you talking about your comfort zone, the things that you like, and you get in that comfort, then you're gonna partake in that. So Jupiter is like stimulating like all these different types of senses, all this type of good food for me. You know what I mean? And even like just exotic food. And the other day I was up at Papados eating some seafood, especially because Cancer, moon, the moon, Cancer, and I got Sag there, so I got a Jupiter. So I'm eating seafood like crazy right now. You know what I mean?
I
So
see someone in the chat talking about where is it? Because I said so. Give thanks his family is sowing seeds in the garden right now. So it's a good time to start growing your own foods.
yeah, that's good preparation there. It is a good time to plant. And it's interesting because my Ace of Diamonds friend, she just planted a garden and she's got like all these peppers and all this stuff. And it's actually growing like abundance, like it's overgrowing. So that goes to show you that this with Jupiter in Taurus, growing food, you're probably going to have a good crop.
Right now.
And it's
Yeah.
probably not going to be as hard as it normally is, or a lot of hard work. So yeah, we should be preparing. We should definitely be growing food. So you folks, and I know we could do urban gardens and all of that, but this is meaning that you probably need to get out there and buy you some land, find some land, get involved, get in the outskirts and the suburbs and stuff like that, so you can really grow crops, because Jupiter also deals with business and money. You know what I mean? So the first people who come along tend to be the business people. And they're thinking about, well, how can I turn this into a business? I'm going to grow food. Other people are going to need food. So this is going to be the time that the speculators and the business people are going to be starting businesses around food growth and growing food. And they're going to be the ones that are going to be prosperous because Jupiter is there. Jupiter in Taurus is going to make people who are growing for a business or growing for other people going to make them prosperous. So remember that. So that's another prediction without us even looking at the cards, just looking at where Jupiter is. We can make some predictions based off of where some of the signs, what's going on with the signs. You know, we're getting ready to go have a Venus retrograde. Venus is going to go retrograde in Leo soon, right? And what does that mean when a planet goes retrograde? When a planet goes retrograde, we always look for the karma. You know what I mean? This is the karmic transit of that planet. This is the time when it starts working out the karma. Karma really means looking backwards. You know what I mean? Like the law of cause and effect. So we stop looking forward and we start looking backwards at what things do we need to work on, what things do we need to pick back up that we had, you know, that we haven't completed. You know, people you've ignored. You know, that's why I say that retrogrades are always good for the underdog, right? Because that's the time when people stop and they look back at the people that they didn't pay attention to when the planets were direct, you know? So if you are one of those underdog kind of people like myself, I'm an underdog, then this could actually be a really good time for you because you may hear from somebody that you planted a seed with. You know, that's the retrograde. And look, Venus retrograde. So you're talking about the seeds that you planted in relationships. Maybe you tried to partner with somebody in the past and you know you wanted to partner up with someone, or you wanted to get an investor or someone to invest with you or something, and they didn't do it. Well, Venus retrograde would be the time when they would think again, you know, and they would think harder, and they'd be like, you know what, I need to call so and so up because they had a plan and I didn't really pay too much attention to that plan, but now I'm going to pay more attention to it. So this is a great time for underdogs. So don't feel bad about the retrograde time. However, the retrograde, because it's dealing with karmic stuff, you still got to go a little slow. You don't want to go running down, you know, the path of the, you know, of that karma. You don't want to do that. You want to take your time, you know, because there's a tendency to overlook details when planets are retrograde. You know, if you're talking about Venus retrograde, you're talking about maybe getting so zoned out on the feel goods that you don't focus on the practical stuff, you know, and you miss out on that. You just feel so good about something or sense something, you know, that you don't focus on the practical stuff. And then when the planets go direct, then you have what? Regret. You know, I tell people, I said, the big thing about retrogrades are regrets. You know, so you tend to, if you get married during a retrograde, I know people that got married during a retrograde, then you start to question a year or two later. And especially when every retrograde comes around, you start to question whether or not you made the right decision, you know? But if it wasn't for a retrograde, when you question whether or not you make the right decision, you may be able to push through a little bit better. But the retrograde just makes it worse. It's just like, I didn't make it. I need to go back and maybe reevaluate or fix or whatever. So the retrogrades make that decision questionable. So that's why it's not a good idea to make a firm decision during the retrograde, because it's not going to be a firm decision. It's going to be questionable. Soon as it goes direct, when something goes wrong, especially, it's going to be questionable. Someone asked, does the Earth go retrograde? That's a good question. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't know. But we consider the Earth in astrology, like in certain different types of astrology, they consider the Earth because your Earth sign is actually opposite your sun. Okay. So if your sun side is Scorpio, your Earth side is Taurus. If your sun sign is Taurus, your Earth sign is Scorpio. You know what I mean? So that's why Scorpios and Tauruses are so alike, because their sun and their Earth are still kind of like in alignment like that.
So we got a
So
Scorpio and a Taurus on the left.
yeah, we have Scorpio and Taurus in the house. Oh, okay. See that? On a Five of Diamonds day. So you know we're really talking about values. We're gonna be talking about that coming up.
Before you go any further, there was a sister Sharon that asked her. Well, it wasn't a question, but she mentioned that she didn't live in the city. When people oftentimes talk about New York, we immediately refer to New York City.
New York
Any
City.
advice? I know you're probably going to cover New York when you get into the spread, but
Yeah.
any words for New York State residents?
Well, I'm actually talking about New York State. New York State is the two of clubs. So when I've been talking about New York State, I was specifically looking at the two of clubs. So that's the entire state
Okay.
of New York. So definitely, I wasn't just looking at the city. I was definitely talking to the entire state.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get into that too. Is anybody else that dropped the question that popped up or just that? Oh, that was good. So let's get to our spreads, y'all. So this is the Grand Solar spreads. And like I said, you can actually use this tool free on my website, and poke around, get to know it. It ain't gonna bite you. Put your age in there where it says age 44. And then if you're 44 years old, and then when you put your age in here, let me show you guys. When you put your age in here, let's say your age is 34, it's then you're going to look for your card. So you need to know your card at least to use this, and you can get your card off the homepage. That's your Sun card. So for instance, let's say you're eight of hearts. If you're a 44-year-old, a 34-year-old eight of hearts, then you would click on the eight of hearts. And if you click on the eight of hearts, then this is going to be your yearly spread, your spread for age 44. I mean age 34. It's going to show up at the bottom. And if you click on them, I even got keywords. I got dates here. These days are important because these are the dates that are Eight of Hearts days, right? So, of course, that means that these are days that energy is going to be stronger, the strongest on those days. So that's why I put it up there, right? So, for instance, if your Jupiter card, if you see, look, if your Mars card is a 10 of diamonds that year, and that's a card that you could potentially get money, and that's a card where you could get windfalls and get attention and have a great marketing campaign, then you want to really pay attention to those days to actually manifest what that card means. Now, does that card fall on other days? It does, because it falls in the spread of other days. But these are its days. These are the days that it is the star. It's the star on those days. So you know that something important is going to manifest for you, because that is in your yearly spread, and these are the days that shows up. So that's why this is like super duper duper important. So I had to tell y'all that part anyway. But we're going to go to age 66. And the reason we're going to go to age 66 because that's where the United States is now. The United States is on the age 66 spread. Remember, I told you there are only 90 spreads. So that means that if the United States is 240 something, 250 something years old, I can't remember the exact age, that means it's going to repeat. So you'll get to age 90, then it's going to start all over again, and it's going to go through 90 years again, and it's going to keep going over. So right now it's at age 66, right? Another important spread is the 7-year spread. And right now, in terms of 7-year spreads, the United States is on age 35, right? So I'm gonna go to the 7-year spread first, because the 7-year spread is like really important. That shows you a long range cycle for somebody, right? So I put in age 35, and then I click on the Jack of Diamonds because the United States is a Jack of Diamonds. So this is the spread of a 7-year cycle for the United States. And right now, the United States is in its Venus year, with the Five of Spades was the card of the year. So you see, we got a little bit more to go. It ends at the Neptune year. So we got a couple of years in this 7-year cycle for the United States, right? So we just basically getting started, right? But if we look at this, I'm going to go over the spreads, the cards of the spreads, and show you some significant things. The 10 of Spades and Mercury, right? The 10 of Spades, I was just talking to Keisha about, that's actually the card of disruptions, right? And it's in Mercury. So this is basically saying don't be married to your plans in this 7-year cycle, because there are going to be a lot of things that are going to come and disrupt your plans. They're going to change your plans, right? But this is the card of success. So this is like, if you continue to work hard at your plan, despite the fact that it gets disrupted, maybe you have to make changes, you have to alter the way your plan is a little bit, you have the potential to still have a lot of success, because the 10 of Spades is ultimately a successful card. This is the card that I call the whale. And the reason that I call it the whale, because in investing, a whale is somebody who has so much money that they're sitting on the money and they got too much money to even spend, right? So what this is saying is that during this period, you're going to have opportunities to have money, lump sums of money. People are going to have money, but they're not going to be able to spend it. Remember, during the pandemic, that was a problem. You got pandemic benefits, you got this, you got that, you got EIDL, and people were sitting on money, but they had nothing to spend it on because why? We were locked in the house, or we were in what do you call it? Quarantine, right? So you had people getting checks, but nowhere to spend it. The restaurants were closed. You couldn't go in restaurants. You couldn't, there were stores that were closed. A lot of people was shopping online and stuff like that. So you find that you got a lot of money, but it's kind of worthless because you can't really spend it, right? So think about that, because that is the energy over the next we still got about what we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5. We have 5 more years. So we have 5 more years of that same kind of energy permeating. Like, yeah, you're gonna get money, but are you gonna be able to spend it? That's gonna be the question. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people have brought that question up because I predicted that there's going to be reparations. You're going to be getting large checks for reparations. So perhaps that's the next large check, or the next group of money that you get that you can't spend that much because maybe there's something going on during that time and you won't be able to spend it like you would be able to spend it. Okay. So the 7 years. So in this 7 year cycle, I want you to pay attention to where the Jack of Diamonds is sitting, right? That is called the displacement. A lot of times y'all ask me when you, especially when you're in my software, what does displacement means? Well, it means that you're sitting in the card, the natural card spot of another card. So it's like moving in your best friend's house and wearing all their clothes and living their life. You know what I mean? That's what displacing means. And in this instance, the United States is displacing the Queen of Diamonds, right? So, what does that mean? That's a heavy focus on material, on money, on financial karma, because the Queen of Diamonds sits in the Saturn column, the Saturn row. So, the Saturn row deals with karma, right? So that's why Aquarius Maximus is always telling you you're going to get your money, you're going to get your reparations and stuff like that, because the United States is sitting dead smack in the middle of the crosshairs of karma. You know what I mean? And they gotta do something. And I'm gonna tell you why they even have to do something for melanin people or descendants of slavery or whatever, because it's in the cards. Um, so the United States is placing the Queen of Diamonds here, right? And the Queen of Diamonds naturally sits in Saturn, Mercury, right? So Saturn deals with, of course, restrictions, fears, things that limit you. You're thinking about you're going to be limited. You're thinking about loss, and it's in Mercury, and Mercury will make you nervous, right? Mercury will make you nervous, anxious, overthinking, worried, all of those things because you're sitting in that spot. And yes, a Queen of Diamonds can be a worry ward, right? So the United States is, for this whole entire 7 year cycle, is sitting in a spot of financial worry, either abundance and prosperity or worry. You take your pick, you know? So we all know we've been worried because there's been things that have been popping up. They've been talking about this and have been talking about that. Well, that is the reason why, right? And I said that the United States has a 10 of spades in Mercury. So that's disruptions in our day to day routine. Mercury deals with your day to day life, right? So these disruptions will come fast and quick and kind of in and out and in and out and in and out, to the point where it kind of has you feeling like you're walking on a ground that's constantly shaking. You know what I mean? It'll have you like that. The United States has, and mind you, when you look at the stuff, all you got to do is click on it and you will see some keywords here as well. See where I says the 10 of spades is sitting on money. So when you get 10 of spades money, that's money that you're likely going to sit on, like you're going to put in a bank, or you're going to save or something like that, right? So, and that's the card that the Eight of Diamonds has in Saturn. So Eight of Diamonds is one of those cards where they always have money put away. They always have money put away. That's what that means. The people who have a 10 of spades, they're going to have money put away. So if you look at someone's yearly chart and they got a 10 of spades, but then they say they ain't got no money, they got money hidden somewhere. They got it put away. You know what I mean? And that is that. And they're going to be practical about that money. So, and maybe even stingy. As a 5 of spades in Venus this 7 years. And that's where we're coming out. So this has actually been our card of the year. So that is where we are right now. And remember that this card I said is associated with trucking and stuff like that. So what have we already had? We've had trucking already. We've had trucks on fire, trucking accidents. We've had a volcano erupting. This can deal with those natural disasters that are sudden. It could also deal with earthquakes. There was an earthquake recently somewhere overseas.
In
Now,
Panama as well.
huh?
We had one in Central America and Panama, my home country.
Okay, in Central America. Okay, okay. So when you see this card, you definitely know that there's going to be a major earthquake. So what this is saying is during this 7 year cycle that we're in, it began this right here took us from 22 2023, so it began sometime in 2021. So from 2021 all the way to was it like 2027 or 2028, there we know that there's going to be a major earthquake. That's given because we got a 5 of spades in Venus. We could pinpoint that earthquake where that might be by looking at some Venus places in the United States or whatever. Maybe it's somewhere Venusian or whatever. If we dug deeper, we could find that out. But a lot of times with cardiology, honestly, to tell you the truth, it's what do you call it? We're looking back. It's like it don't already happen. Let's look and see why. And there it is, and there's the card, right? So that's the 5 of spades. So that's the card of sudden changes. Now Venus rules your values, right? And it rules the current the things that you can buy with money. You know what I mean? Your lifestyle stuff and all of that, And when we're talking about Taurus, we a lot of times we're talking about the currency and the money and stuff. So we got a 5 of spades here. So that means that there's going to be a change in our money, a change in the way that we exchange our values or we buy things and stuff like that. In this 7 year cycle, there's going to be a major disruption, the 10 of spades, that's going to lead to a change in the way that we spend our money and stuff like that, right? And let me tell you this, the 5 of spades is a stalker on the negative side, right? But it's also an energy where people can see what you're doing, like they're going to investigate or they can look into. So one of the things about crypto, which is always also here, is that crypto is transparent. You know what I mean? So, we're going to have a lot of people looking into the finances of other people, investigations. So a lot of times with the 5 of spades, you'll find investigation, that it's somebody, an investigator, someone who's looking and they're looking into your money. Now, mind you, the United States is displacing the Queen of Diamonds, and the Queen of Diamonds oftentimes has issues with what? Taxes. You know what I mean? So you know that during this time, they're wanting to probably dig into people's taxes and audit the hell out of people during this time because of this energy as well. So we got that. So we also got an 8 of diamonds in Mars. Now, mind you, we're getting ready to go on a Mars year, right? So that in and of itself tells you some things. We're dealing with everything Mars has to offer. Mars, you want to look up Mars keywords. You want to look at strategy. You want to look at, of course, fighting. You want to look at cuts. You want to look at bruises. You want to look at, but what Mars really does is it brings to the surface what is ailing you. You know what I mean? So it digs it up. It brings it up to the surface so that it could be dealt with, right? So we're talking about some things that are coming up that are being dug up because we got the 5 of spades, a lot of things that are being dug up that are going to be uncovered and coming to the surface during this 7 years. So, and it's going to be shocking. And how do I know that it's going to be shocking? Well, anytime I see the 8 of diamonds, I think about shocking information, right? because the Eight of Diamonds has an Ace of Spades Pluto. That's something so deeply buried that forget about it. Like nobody, like it was an urban legend. And what happened the other day? The other day we're all talking about this UFO thing, right? We're all talking about this potential alien in the back of somebody's home, right? And most certainly I would say that's some Eight of Diamonds sensational information coming out in Mars. Now, the Eight of Diamonds, which by the way, this is going to be our card of the year, and I'll get to the yearly card. The Eight of Diamonds is also the card of assassination, right? So we're in a Mars year. So emphatically, there's going to be a major assassination attempt on someone, right? Now, are they going to be successful? I have no idea. I gotta look a little deeper, but definitely there's going to be an assassination attempt on someone. So you can see that Eight of Diamonds. I always see an Eight of Diamonds when I see someone assassinated or having a assassination attempt. Plus the fact that it's in Mars kind of underscores that. You know what I mean? So, and mind you, this is the 7 year I'm looking at. I haven't even gotten to the year yet, but I want to give you the overall energy. So the Jupiter is the 7 of Diamonds in Jupiter, right? Guess what? This 7 year cycle is going to make a lot of millionaires. That's what that says. So despite the fact that we're going to have a recession, things are going to be volatile, there's a lot of millionaires that are going to be born during this cycle. There's going to be a lot of wealthy people that are born during this cycle. So, despite the fact I may be talking about a recession, I may tell y'all there's going to be a food shortage, I may tell you there's going to be another pandemic, it's still going to be rich people made during this 7 year cycle, period. So, so if you're working on something and it involves a monetary or financial goal that you have, know that during this 7 year cycle, you can manifest that financial goal. So don't, even if I turn around and say a meteor is going to hit and blow up the world, it does not stop your destiny and it does not stop your belief system and what you're going to manifest. So remember that. So we got a 7 of Diamonds in Jupiter. That is also Beyonce. And we all know that Beyonce is making more money now than she's ever made, right? Her concerts right now, top dollar. She's scheduled to make billions off of these concerts. And look at the 7 year spread of the United States. She's literally in Jupiter. So she's going to expand, 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 expand financially. That also applies to other 7 of Diamonds. So other 7 of Diamonds, if you're out there, this is an opportunity for you to do like Beyonce is doing. So it's like, don't hate, she's your guidepost, and she's showing you how to do it. And how she's doing it? By setting up concerts, by performing, by putting herself out there. Really, performing is just putting yourself out there. That's what it means. So this is the best time, if ever, to put yourself out there. You know what I mean? And that's really going to apply even more to the underdogs who are not used to putting themselves out there. This is the best time. There's no better time you can make money. Invest in yourself. That's the 7 of Diamonds in Jupiter. Invest in yourself, invest in your business. That also means that if you want to start a business during this time, it's going to take money. It's going to take capital, and you should do it. Whenever there's a 7 of Diamonds, you should invest in your business. You should put money into it. But it also says that you're going to have to put some work. You're going to have to make some sacrifices in order to make it successful. A little shout out to folks down in the
chat.
How y'all doing? How y'all?
We got a 7 of Diamonds transformation card here.
Yeah, this is very valuable. Aquarius, stay giving y'all some tea, the money tea. If anything, I'm a king. My name is the King of Diamonds. I'm a King of Diamonds by birth. I stay giving y'all that financial tea for real. Seriously, 6 of Diamonds in Jupiter. I give it to y'all. So while other people trying to sell y'all on some stuff that likely ain't gonna work, I'll be giving y'all the tea on the money, on the regular. So just remember that.
For years, not just from now, for years.
I know. And also, the seven of diamonds is ruled by Venus. So, speaking about the T on money, this is women. You know what I mean? So, whenever you see a hardcore Venus like that, you're talking about women. So, you're talking about the potential for women in general to be running businesses, to be having $1 million businesses, to be making a lot of money. And when I see the seven of diamonds, I usually see men who are not making as much money as women, but they're supporting the women who are making money. Therefore, they get to enjoy the money. You know what I mean? Like literally, it's that simple, fellas. Support the women that got the ideas. Ace of Clubs is the hidden power to the seven of diamonds. That's ideas. Support the women who have the ideas. Get behind them. Put money in them and stuff like that. And guess what? That's how you're going to prosper this 7 years as well, because women are going to be leading the forefront on that. So let's look at the Saturn card for 7 years. And this is very important. The Saturn card for this 7 years is the Eight of Spades, right? And the Eight of Spades is the card of the word artificial intelligence. Okay. So if you go on my app and you look up artificial intelligence with a capital A and a capital I, the way they put it when they put it out there, you're going to get the Eight of Spades. And the Eight of Spades is important because it actually means a lot of different things. But I pointed that out because the name itself of artificial intelligence is an Eight of Spades. Artificial intelligence is the King of Spades. Absolutely. But it's also an Eight of Spades, right? So what does that mean, right? What does that mean? The Eight of Spades is a card of belief systems as well. That's beliefs, that's willpower, because it's your belief system that's going to give you the willpower to succeed, right? So people who have very strong willpower and who can endure, they are going to solidify themselves this 7 years. So it's going to take willpower. That means you can't go giving up on the stuff that you're supposed to be doing. You can't go giving up on your dreams. You can't go giving up on anything you're doing and that you're really willing to put your grit and your grind behind. You got to stay with it no matter what. Like I said earlier in the program, even if the planet is blowing up, you got to stay with your plan. With your Now your plan may have to move. You know what I mean? Like your plan is mobile. Your plan doesn't have to be here, but stay with your plan. Take your plan with you. Grow your plan. Live that plan no matter what. So the thing that you are not going to give up on, the thing that you are willing to fight for and die for, that'll be the thing that can solidify your life going forward. That's what the Eight of Spades is. And this also means that it's going to be essential for you to incorporate artificial intelligence. Period. You got to incorporate AI. You got to get involved in this. Don't stick your head in the ground with AI because it's going to happen. It's happening. It's not going anywhere, right? And I truly believe that it was created to make your life easier. The transformation card to the Eight of Spades is the Nine of Diamonds. This is the card of the people. This is the card of melanin people, people of color, people in general, people who are even white folks that are around people of color fit in this Nine of Diamonds scenario, right? And that is the transformation card to the Eight of Spades. The Nine of Diamonds is also somebody who, guess what, doesn't want to work a job. They don't. They don't want to work for somebody making pennies, slaving. They don't want to be nobody's slave. The Nine of Diamonds is royalty. You know what I mean? So they're royalty. They don't want to work. So they have manifested these things that are going to make life easier for them. Don't let the robots do the jobs. You are going to work your plan, your business, your creativity. Let the robots do the job. That's okay. They ain't taking no jobs from you. You don't even want to do it. And when you see what these jobs are going to be paying in the future, you really are not going to want to do it. You know what I mean? They're literally going to price you out. These jobs are not going to be worth the pay that you would be doing. So you're definitely going to want to leave that and go do what you came here to do,
Mhm.
your purpose. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. We'll talk about that too because it's very prominent in the United States. Next spread. So then we're looking at the Uranus. The Uranus is the 10 of hearts. I love the 10 of hearts. The 10 of hearts is the card of like communities, like big communities. There are going to be a bunch of big communities that are born out of this. You know what I mean? There are going to be new communities that are born out of this. New big old communities of people getting together, working together, having sharing those esoteric views and so some people might call them cults. It's gonna be some cults too. You know what I mean? But it's
Exchanging
going,
resources.
huh?
They're going to be exchanging their resources with one another.
Yeah, yeah. Because this is something else you've been asking for. You've been asking for your tribes. You've been asking for your communities. You've been asking for building like a nation building. You've been asking for the people to come together. So it is going to happen, but you have to evolve in order for it to happen. The area that you're going to have to evolve is in the Aquarius, the area, because Uranus is Aquarius. So that means you're going to have to detach from your personal feelings about things and people. You're going to have to learn how to utilize people in the proper place that they are and the proper thing that they do. But this also means by a person, you're going to have to learn to walk in your lane and not cross all over other people's lanes. You know what I mean? Literally, what do you do and what do you do best? That is what you're going to have to own and not try to compete in other people's lanes. That's how people get come together in society and are able to work together because they allow everybody to have their own lane in what they do, you know? So
And,
that's one thing. Mhm.
and just a quick shout out to DMKC. He's talking about including retreats to attend. And speaking of retreats, Aquarius got a retreat coming up
I do.
beginning
I
in
do.
August for those that are interested. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm, and those are actually going to be big. Retreats are gonna be big, and we'll talk about that. If I just dropped, um oh, Jesus. My 9 of diamonds just I knew a disruption was coming because we got a 10 of spades. So, I knew a disruption was coming, but I might need to close FaceTime up here on my computer because you know how folks do. You know how black folks do. You don't answer the first time. They gonna call you like 3 feet. They gonna ring your phone 3, 4, 5 times till you answer. But yes, retreats, conferences. This is gonna be a big thing, and we'll talk about that as well. The Ten of Hearts is also the card that I like to use for Olokun, right? And when I think about Olokun, I think about water, and I think about tsunamis, I think about floods and stuff like that. And I also think about things to do with the water. And it makes sense because right now Saturn is in Pisces, right? So what you're looking at when Saturn, which brings illness and limitation, moves into Pisces, which rules bodies of water, you're talking about contaminated water, right? And this is something that's going to be an issue that we have to deal with over this 7-year cycle. We have to deal with contaminated water. And already it's been popping up. As soon as I said that recently, people were sending me messages in my inbox about having to boil their water here and having to boil their water here. And recently, Lake Lanier, which I love to go, by the way, shut down their beach for swimming. And I believe it's because the water is contaminated. I believe that they probably tested the water and the water has a high level of some particular bacteria or something. And typically when that happens, they have to shut down swimming. They did that with Stone Mountain. Stone Mountain used to have a beach, and they have now opened back up since then. They
Oh wow.
found, yeah, Stone Mountain has a beach, and they closed down Stone Mountain Beach probably like well over a decade ago. I don't remember how long it was, but they found that it was contaminated, had high levels of something, and they shut it down, and they haven't reopened it. So you're talking about contaminated water.
Someone
right?
in the chat is saying there was a lot of dead fish. Texas.
Yeah, yeah. There was actually didn't we have that train derailment recently, and then people were
Mhm.
showing the pictures of the dead fish over by the train derailment. And a train will constitute a five of spades as well. So, the trains are not totally safe from this scenario. You're talking about all types of mass transit in jeopardy. You know what I mean? So, speaking of which, we are going to talk about flights and flying.
Right.
We'll talk about that when I get ready to share the yearly spread for that's coming up. So we have that. We talked about the Ten of Hearts. So the Ten of Hearts are on the good side. We're talking about communities coming together, building communities, big, huge conferences, stuff like that. And then also water, things to do with water, and that also kind of opens up the fact that we probably have to give reverence to the water, do more prayers at the water, do more spiritual work at the water. The water is calling us to do those things. Um, so the last card we have for the 7-year cycle is the Two of Spades, which, by the way, that is the card that the United States is going to be displacing this next birthday. And what is the Two of Spades? The Two of Spades is the card of brotherly love. And I say brotherly love because the Two of Spades is a little bit on the masculine side, but it more means like work together in terms of let's build, let's come together, let's work. It's also the card of friendships. So it's not so much the card of relationships in the love sense, like the love, but it's that compadre, companion kind of love. You know what I mean? So brotherly love is the Two of Spades. So that's in Neptune, right? And I guess that's why we have been talking about a lot, especially the women, about how the brothers have kind of banding together. They've been coming for us, but that is definitely a Two of Spades thing. And it's probably something that you're going to see more often. And it's a healing that probably needs to take place because it's in Neptune, right? So it's pointing to all you brothers needing to get together and delve deeper into the spiritual side of things versus the mundane. You want to look to the spiritual to work on some of the issues that you may have working on, right? It also talks about unconditional love, So I think that during this cycle, friends are going to be tighter. You're going to go through things with your friends. You may want to kick them to the curb because they did you dirty. You may feel that way, but at the end of the day, this cycle is not about kicking friends to the curb, right? Because remember, you have to learn cooperation and collaboration during this time. So that means you're going to have people that are going to do things that you don't like, right? They're going to do things. They're going to snake you. They're going to do this and they're going to do that. But you have to find a way to work with them for acceptance. You know what I mean? Because think about all of the people that you support out there in the world, and you may you may buy clothes from Shein, right? I know a lot of women. I put up Shein. I love buying clothes from Shein, but can you pick up the phone and call Shein? It's something, you know what I mean? Their customer service has gotten better over time. But I remember when we was ordering stuff from China before and we was just getting stuff we was not ordering. It took time to build that. But we had a lot of tolerance for them. And that's the thing. We would tend to have a lot of tolerance for people for the things that we deeply want or desire. But stuff that's like mid, we might not have so much tolerance for. But during this period, you're going to have to learn tolerance because karma's at play here. You never know how that person may save your life. You know what I mean? You never know how you may not like that person today, but tomorrow that's the person that saves your life. Tomorrow that's the person that pulls you from the wreckage of a building, or decides to go back and look for you when no one else looks for you and thinks about you. You have to give grace and favor to people. Now, you don't have to, be all chummy and lovey all the time, but that's emotional intelligence. Express your displeasure in the moment, then let it go. You know what I mean? Don't let things stew and don't let things fester and don't let things, turn you into a crazed whatever, deal with it in the moment and then move on. because you never know what type of value this person is giving you, even though you don't like them, period. So we're going to learn lessons about that and getting through all of that.
We have a question in the chat.
Sure,
Not sure if you're
sure.
going to answer it right this second, but Miss Peachy has a question. It says, "What does it mean to have a grand trine in your birthday chart? And if the ruling planet, it's Mercury in retrograde, and her north and south node is in retrograde at birth." She's a nine of
Okay.
diamonds.
That's a lot of
Yeah,
information, right? That
yeah.
we can't go in. But a trine is easy energy. You know what I mean? And as a matter of fact, a trine is so easy that sometimes you may actually overlook it. It's easy energy, but it's not easy energy that makes the success. It's the harsh energy that makes the success. You know? So what may happen in your grand trine is that when there's a transit that goes by and activates it, this might be a time when some things flow to you very easy. So you're trying to get money and it flows to you very easy. Now, if you got Mercury in retrograde natally in your chart, then you tend to second guess things. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Remember when I talked about retrograde earlier? It's talking about reevaluating, going after you get married during the retrograde and then you second guess that marriage. Well, if you got Mercury retrograde in your natal chart, you tend to second guess everything. You know what I mean? Like literally, you may second guess. Hold on, you guys, real quick. I forgot. I usually have my Monday AE2. I schedule it for tomorrow.
Just
I
want to say
usually
thank
have,
you
I
to
usually have
everybody
a.
tuning in.
Huh? I'm sorry.
I was just saying thank you to everybody that's tuned in.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so one of the things you'll find with Mercury, sometimes you can identify people who have Mercury retrograde in their chart because they'll repeat something they say. They might say it 3 times. They're like, like a spell. Like they might say, a phrase and just repeat it 3 times. A lot of times that's what you'll see with somebody who has Mercury retrograde in their chart um in their chart. But yeah, people texting me. I tell you that 10 of spades disruption. But if you have a trine, and see, you already know you have a trine. So one of the things you probably want to do is look at when the moon is making aspects to it, when the moon is moving through. So if the moon makes a conjunction to one of those major planets in the trine, it's going to activate those three spaces. But you want to go to an astrologer to see what those 3 spaces mean, like what houses they're in, how is it going to manifest if you want to get down to the wire in terms of manifesting something for yourself, because that's what you can do with a trine. You can manifest something. It could be like a portal for something to come through for you. So where we at? Oh, I was about to get to the Pluto of this 7 years. Jack of Spades, Bitcoin, crypto. And I say Bitcoin because Bitcoin was the first crypto. And usually it's the first thing that becomes like the grandparent, right? And that's what that becomes a card of everything, the overarching energy of everything involved. So the Jack of Spades being Bitcoin's birthday, that's also the card of crypto, right? So for this 7 years, it's been in Pluto. So that means that it's going to go through all types of changes and transformations, and it's gonna probably wind up being something beyond what we expect, right? So you don't want to get married to the idea of what it is. With Pluto, you want to build your belief system. You want to build your belief system because it's going to be a battle of the belief systems. Because whoever has the strongest belief system, they're going to have the strongest willpower, and they're going to be the ones that remain standing when everything comes to try to decimate that thing. So if you're into crypto, of course, like me, I'm the founder of a crypto, you want to have a very strong belief system or find something that you can identify with that gives you that support as a belief system, because you are contributing to what this thing is going to be in the end, right? And this is also talking about a fight, a deep fight. Pluto is going to be power struggle. So a big power struggle related to it, right? And it's sitting right next to the Jack of Clubs. Funny, because we're getting ready to go, we're in a Jack of Clubs week. So guess what? That means that you're going to hear a lot about crypto this week, because we're in a Jack of Clubs week. But this is the reward for that crypto transformation, is the Jack of Clubs. And I like to think that the Jack of Clubs represents the people. It represents a real down to earth kind of people. It represents the hood, it represents the hip hop generation or whatever. So it's saying that you are very instrumental. If you're that type of person, that young or young minded, clever, Aquarian type individuals, then you are going to be very impacted, but you could also benefit tremendously from getting deeply embedded into crypto. So that's what that's saying. We already know that for the 7 year. So the peak card for the 7 years is the Five of Hearts. So let's talk about the Five of Hearts, y'all. The Five of Hearts, that's the card for the Apple Vision Pro. I showed the other day, when you do the name for the Apple Vision Pro, it's a Five of Hearts, which tells me a lot about the Apple Vision Pro, right? Number one is using a 5 and 5 energy. 5 energy is great for quick money. It's great for money flowing in, but it also is not, it's just the beginning, because it's going to morph into something else. That's not going to be the thing. That's going to be the thing for a while, but it's going to morph into something else, right? But it also means that a certain type of people, they're going to come running for it. They're going to come running. As soon as that door opens, there are going to be people camping out, because the Five of Hearts is the card of the camper, and it's the card of the nomad. It's also the card of homelessness, right? So when you have a five of hearts energy, that means that all of those things you're going to see pop up with that 5 of hearts. So if Apple made its headset a 5 of hearts by name, that tells me that when this thing drops, there are going to be people camping out at the Apple store trying to get it, period. So that's how hot and in demand it's going to be. Okay. So the 5 of hearts is a card of homelessness. So that's the peak. So that's telling me that we're going to come to a time during this cycle where there's going to be a mass migration of people who don't have a place to live. And they're going to seek somewhere to live. They're likely going to be fleeing something. They're going to be fleeing something. And then, of course, there's going to be evictions. There's going to be people who are going to be thrown out of somewhere. That's the 5 of hearts. But there are going to be people who are going to be fleeing, and they're going to be trying to find a new place to live. And because it's in a peak position, that means like literally you're going to see on your TV, or the internet, or places where you see it, you're going to see people lined up with cars trying to leave somewhere. So that is going to occur. That's going to occur. So you also have a 3 of diamonds in the moon position during this 7 years. And what does that mean? That's people who are kind of like all over the place with their values. Like they don't really know what they want to do. So they're going to try different things. People are going to try, they're going to experiment with different things and experiment with different values. That's also Donald Trump is a 3 of diamonds, and it's in the moon position. So that tells me why there's so many Trump supporters now, because moon is like, I feel comfortable. I'm in my comfort zone, and I'd rather have him than him. That's comfort zone. That's also, what do you call it? What's the word? Codependency, because hey, I don't want to see what could happen. I already know how it's going to be with here. So I'd rather stick with this. That's the moon, the comfort zone. Now, the transformation card, the 7 years, is the King of Diamonds, right? So what does that mean, that the transformation? So this means that a lot of people are going to become business owners. right? They're going to become financially independent. And a lot of people are going to become more savvy and financially savvy about money. They're going to have to be more financially savvy. That also means that the current business people, like the big businesses, are going to transform and change. And the Three of Diamonds is also the card of Instagram, right? So being in the moon position, I still would say that, Instagram is probably going to be kicking for a little bit longer because it's in the moon position and people are comfortable there and that's people's comfort zone. But TikTok is an Eight of Diamonds. So, and that's the Mars cards for this 7 years. So that's people running to TikTok, but then there's also obstacles, right? We know there's obstacles because again, China, which is also an Eight of Diamonds. So we're talking about China being the Mars card, the literal Mars card, for the United States for this 7 year cycle. So we're going to have issues with China, right? And we'll talk about that too. And not only just China, but of course Russia, because how I look at it, when you're looking at China, you're looking at Russia. When you're looking at Russia, you're looking at China. Is going to be pretty much a cross pollination there. So let's look at the year. Let's get to the dun. Age 67 spread for the United States. Let's click on the Jack of Diamonds. Let me open this up because I'm going to go through. So this is the spread that the United States is going to be in after its birthday. So one of the things I want you to look at closely is the fact that we're coming from the Saturn column, because I think we're in the Saturn column this year, to the Neptune column. Okay, so we're in Neptune. Neptune rules the 12th house of the zodiac. It's also associated with Pisces. And currently we have Saturn in Pisces, right? So that means that's like, think about you if you had a basement and you put a very contagious person down in the basement, right? And then all of us got stuck in the basement, like we're all down in the basement with that very contagious sick person. That's where we are right now. Right? So we're all in the basement with some shit, some stuff we don't even know. Like we don't even know what's contaminated, what we're contaminated with. We don't even know, right? But Neptune deals with spirituality. So what could help you is if you're spiritually tuned in, or if you tune into yourself, then that could help you navigate the space. That's the only thing that's going to help you navigate the space. And it makes sense because this year is a 7 year, which is ruled by Neptune. It's a 7 of Hearts year. So it's a Neptunian energy all around, right? So that means that in order to navigate this, you need to use your spiritual senses, not your eyes that you see with, but your spiritual eyes, in order to be able to navigate everything that goes down this year, right? So it's displacing the Two of Spades. So it's sitting in Neptune and Mars, right? So that's the card of brotherly love and work and cooperation that I was telling you about. Notice that it sits at the cross section of Neptune and in Mars. Neptune is rose-colored glasses. Mars is, of course, your goals, your work, and stuff like that. So you partner with people with Two of Spades, and you soften up. That means you're more accepting of the type of people you partner with. You're not so, you're not so harsh, right? But it also means you partner with people and then you turn around and then some shit goes wrong. You know what I mean? Like you find out some stuff. You find out that they did this or they did that or whatever. And it may look bad. And then you got to try to figure it out. Like, should I continue working with this person? I'm stuck with them now because I'm in Neptune, because you are stuck. You're in Neptune, right? So no matter what, you're stuck. You're stuck in the mud. So do you abandon the project that you started with because that person got issues and you don't find out about the issues? Or do you try to work through those issues? You likely are going to have to try to work through those issues, because look at the card that's pushing you forward. This is what we call the card that's pushing you forward. It's the Six of Clubs. This is the card of mediation, working it out. So you're going to find that in all areas of your life, you may be pushed towards mediation, even if you go to court. So you may have a court case after the 4th of July, or even up until the 4th of July. They may suggest that you do mediation, right? It may be with baby daddy, baby mama. You go to court this year and they suggest that you do some serious mediation. They don't want to, they want to be hands off. It's Neptune. No, nobody want to be bothered with that. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know what to do. Y'all handle it, you know? So mediation. So people who are like natural mediators, 6 of clubs type people, 2 of diamonds, you know, or 2s or whatever, you know, or 3s even, because 3s are even better because they know how to mix people from different spaces together. They'll do very well because they're going to be the ones that are going to be like the voice of reason per se. You know what I mean? So there's going to be a lot of forcing you to cooperate with other individuals, especially people who you may not like. You know what I mean? That's going to be a big thing. The universe is participating in that. It's not just people, it's going to be cosmic things that happen in the universe that force you to work with others that may be difficult to work with, but everybody's difficult to work with. So, but you learn to find ways. So, this is good if you're in the technology space and you're used to coming up with solutions. So if you could think about technological solutions that you can put into place that help people come together and work out situations, that's probably going to be something that's going to be very big, very fruitful, and very profitable over the next couple of years. Things that help bring people together and give them a platform where they can work out things. So you want to be thinking about that if you're a solutionary type person. So we got our Mercury card, the 4 spades. Now I like that. 4 spades is like the calm before the storm. You know what I mean? So what you're gonna find is there's gonna be a lot of building taking place. And I like to use the 4 spades to represent apartments, like apartments and condos. So these people out here are anticipating your migration. They know where you're going to show up. They have the data on it. They know what's coming down the pipeline. They have the astrologers too. They have the cardologists too. They listen to Aquarius Maximus too. They know all of these things, right? And because they know all these things, they're 10 steps ahead of you. So they're building apartments, they're building housing in different places that are going to be there to accommodate the mass migration of people from different places. That's going to, so you'll see that probably more apartments go up in the summertime than you've ever seen. You know what I mean? Because that's Mercury, and they're gonna go up fast. Like buildings, it's in Mercury, so that means like buildings, you're gonna see them putting up a building in like 5 seconds. You know, they're gonna go up fast. So that's what that is. That's the builder, right? But the 4 of spades is very deeply deep. It's also the gamer, by the way. Those are gamers. Those are people who like to play video games, right? So this is you're going to hear a lot about gaming. You're going to hear a lot more about gaming and new games that are coming down the pipeline, especially new apps and things that go along with the metaverse and the new headset that's coming out as well, right? So if you're in the tech space, even if you ain't in the tech space, you might want to get in the tech space, and you may want to be building your ideas or getting or paying somebody, 7 of diamonds in Jupiter, to build you an idea that has something to do with either gaming or metaverse. That's with that 4 spades as well. So, and let me see what kind of negative stuff. Let me see on some back. It's not a lot of negative stuff that comes with the 4 spades, by the way. So that's actually good. So, but what negative thing does come with the 4 spades sometimes is worry. You know what I mean? So there's like worry when you don't have to worry about things that you don't really have to worry about, but you worry. You know what I mean? So a lot of worry that may spark you into building something new or thinking about what can I construct in my life. So we got that 5 of spades. We talked about that. That was actually a United States yearly card this year, right? And coming in the birthday is going to be the Venus card, right? So we're talking about in the area of, our social life. And we know that the five of spades is going to be shakeups and disruptions. So you're talking about perhaps, what do you call it? Disasters and things that impact places where people get together and socialize. You know what I mean? Like even maybe fires. So if you go somewhere and you party, make sure you don't go to a hole in the wall that only got one exit. Don't go places that are overcrowded. Watch the exits. Make sure that these places are very, very well taken care of and well put together, because a five of spades there is definitely denoting that there are going to be incidents and accidents that occur inside of places that people go to socialize, even concerts. You know what I mean? So you're going to want to be careful when you go to places of overcrowding and stuff like that, because you got that five of spades there. So there's going to be some things that go down. The five of spades is also leaving the state. That's a move, and that's a move out of state. So you're going to have people, when they move out of state. You know what I mean? So these are long moves. So these are not just moves to the next city. These are moves to the next state or the other side, or even out the country. These are long moves, right? And you also want to look at things that, again, I want to talk about the airlines. I mentioned this spread right here. One of the ways that helps us to be able to come up with predictions is we look back at when the United States actually was on that spread before. The United States has been on this spread before. The United States was on this spread in 1979. So what we do is we go back and see, well, what the hell happened in 1979, right? Bam. One of the biggest things that happened in 1979 was a plane crash that happened in Chicago, killed everybody on board. And I believe it was American Airlines, right? So I did peek at American Airlines. I think it was American Airlines, one of them. Yeah, I peeked at it, and its cars didn't look too great. And the funny thing is, something came up recently. I can't remember what it was, but something else came up with it. And we got an airline person. Do you know of anything that came up with American Airlines recently?
I do not. I have not heard. You know what? Actually, they have been having a lot of disruptions down in Arkansas and in Texas, but I'm not sure about anything in terms of like
See,
mechanical or anything like that. But I
yeah.
can find out. Yeah.
See, this is why you got to pay attention to the signs. You know what I mean? Because it may not be a plane crash this time. That's that bad. You know what I mean? However, it's a good idea to pay attention to the signs, because then you know that, oh wow, that didn't happen, but something did happen. So you know that on this particular spread, this particular company is in detriment. You know what I mean? And I don't actually remember what the card. I think American Airlines is a five of clubs, as a
And
matter of
speaking
fact.
of, I just did a quick Google search, and American Airlines flight from LAX to Boston returned to LA after declaring it was having an emergency just 8 hours ago.
Wow.
Emergency landing after hydraulics failure 8 hours ago.
Wow. You see what I'm talking about? Spirit will give you those signs really early. You know what I mean? So wow. So, maybe that's not the airline to book. Let's just put it to you like that. And what's so crazy is that I just seen, I think it was one of the Wayans brothers, one of them said that I know he had some issues, I think maybe with another airline, and he said, I'm only taking American Airlines. I just seen that. And I was like, ooh, that might not be a good idea, bruh. I just saw that. So someone says that they're waiting on a life report from a year ago. I had actually that masterclass, we gave away free life reports. First of all, if you're here and you attended that masterclass and you didn't get your life report, those free reports, those reports were actually free given with the masterclass. So it wasn't people paying for the life reports. You paid for the master class, and we gave away those reports for free. And I no longer have that software. And for those life reports, I'm actually creating a new software because software changes, and it just so happens that I was having issues with the newest operating system with Windows 11 with that software. So, if you didn't get that, I'm super sorry about that, but that's not what y'all paid for. Y'all paid for the class, and I hope you got to attend the class and go back, because that's the real jewels in it, is learning cardology. You know what I mean? In general. But I had to add that there. But yes, it was Marlon Wayans that said that he's going to be riding. He's going to be flying American Airlines. So if anybody who knows Marlon Wayans, you might want to tell him he might want to change that up, because Aquarius Maximus don't know about that. So I want y'all to look at something really key about this year as well, and pay attention to this stuff. You know what I mean? Because you could be formulating your next year plan of success. I told you this 7 years is going to make a lot of millionaires, period. It doesn't even matter that the shit is going to hit the fan in multiple locations. It's still going to make a lot of millionaires. So I want you to look at this top. This is the star of this spread. The star of the spread is going to be the card that's sitting in this spot, which we call the crown. This is the crown sun. This is the sun. This is the what you call it, the boss, the this, the that. And the card that is sitting there is the 9 of diamonds. Okay. Now, mind you, the 9 of diamonds is also showing up as Uranus to the United States, right? So you got it sitting in this spot right here, which is the sun spot, and it's Uranus. So you're talking about really some supreme good fortune for the card itself and what it represents. So if you're a 9 of diamonds, this year is going to be an opportunity for you to do something really, really major, and you probably feel a pull towards doing something major in your life. You're going to feel a pull. You're going to be like, I just got to do this. Like, this is the year, right? Now, the 9 of diamonds, I told you, also represents people of color, melanated people, Black folks, Latin, the people in general, people who gel with us like that. That's the 9 of diamonds, right? And it's sitting in that prominent position. So when I was talking about reparations, and I said it's probably going to come in 2024, check in hand, I'm looking at that placement right there, right? And that's talking about, that's sitting in the spot of the 8 of diamonds. So the 8 of diamonds is about getting a lump sum of money too, So a lot of times the type of money that you get with 8 of diamonds is inheritance money, court payments, court settlements, big court settlements, loans and grants, right? Government money. So that's that type of money, right? And the 9 of diamonds is philanthropy, is giving. This is not money that you got to work for. This is money that is just given to you, right? So that's telling me that the 9 of diamonds, those people are going to get a lump sum of money that they didn't have to work for. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't going to work for this money. They're going to just demand this money. Now, mind you, it's also sitting next to the King of Diamonds. The King of Diamonds is in the Pluto position. So what that tells me is that a lot of those 9 of diamonds, when they get that money, of course, they're going to get into business. They're going to become business owners and stuff like that. But this is the King of Diamonds itself is sitting in a transformed position. So you talk about companies going out of business. You're talking about companies dying and companies being reborn. Companies dying, companies being born, right? So there are going to be some companies that go down like a bag of flaming hot Cheetos. They out, but they're going to be companies that are born as well during this time. And it's hugging the 9 of diamonds. So the 9 of diamonds, they're going to get their money and they're going to work towards being financially independent and starting business and stuff like that. This is a good position for people of color to get reparations. Why? Because they're sitting in the middle of the God card, which is like responsibility and stuff like that. And they're sitting next to the card of financial responsibility, the King of Diamonds. So you get money when you're in this position, you're going to do responsible things with it because you're also displacing the Queen of Spades. So you're displacing the Queen of Spades and the Eight of Diamonds. These are people who are fairly responsible with their money. So people are not just going to get reparations and go buck wild. They're actually going to do responsible things with it. They're going to also buy real estate because the Queen of Spades is the card of real estate. So a lot of them are going to buy real estate. So if you're in the real estate industry or you're thinking about doing things in the real estate space, this could also be a time when you do very well in real estate because you don't set up your stuff so that you can do very well in real estate. If that makes sense, right? This could also be new businesses that come up that are geared towards helping the melanated people, helping them with that money. You know what I mean? Like helping them invest it, helping them do good things with it or do responsible things with it. Some people are going to set up businesses that are around that. And if you're talking about that's coming like all the way like in 2024, then you need to be setting up that now. You need to be setting up things like now and getting a head start on the business that you're going to get later on, and you'll be one of those 7 of diamonds millionaires because you thought ahead of the time and you watched Aquarius Maximus forecast. You know what I mean? Interestingly, I peeked at the United States solar return, and I believe it has Virgo on the ascendant for the solar return. So what does Virgo deal with? Virgo deals with service to others. It also deals with brotherly love in a way. It is Two of Spades is a very Virgo card. Working brotherly love, working together. You know what I mean? How can I be of service to others in workspace? So it's very Virgo energy, very Virgo, very detailed, coming up with these detailed plans and coming up with ways that we could work together better. But Virgo also deals with health, and so does the Two of Spades. So let's talk about that part. So we're displacing the Two of Spades. The karma card to the Two of Spades, if we look down here, we're sitting where the Two of Spades is, but the other card is the Six of Spades, and this is the card of health issues. You know what I mean? This is the card of, because it's sitting in Neptune and Mars, right? So we're talking about Neptune, those things that are maybe in water, right? And Mars is inflammation. So maybe things that are in water that cause inflammation. So 99% of the diseases and stuff that are out there are inflammatory based. We already know that. You know what I mean? So we're talking about people not only dealing with inflammation, of course, they're going to have flare-ups, really bad flare-ups. And that Two of Spades facilitates people working together because you're more open to helping somebody when they're sick than when they're not sick, right? So you can anticipate that there may be someone that you may have to care for or you may have to nurse back to health because of that Two of Spades. And it's likely, as karma would have it, it could be somebody who's very difficult, somebody you don't like. You know what I mean? Because the Two of Spades has a King of Spades in Neptune. So it could be somebody who's a complete crab or a complete bitch. You know what I mean? So I guarantee you, if you wind up having to help somebody through their health crisis, it's probably going to be somebody who's going to be very difficult. And you're going to have to learn how to deal with difficult people and be there regardless. So some of us are going to be learning that lesson. So we're going to be caring for the sick in some way, and maybe lots of sick. Because again, this could also indicate, because the United States is sitting in that spot, that this is some type of health emergency or pandemic that is occurring. And maybe it could start in water because of Neptune. You know what I mean? So and Mars is there, so it's pretty painful. You know what I mean? Mars could be painful. But what I like about Mars is it it moves. It's not like the type like just all Neptune, Saturn, where you get this illness and it just takes you out of here. Mars doesn't do that. Mars asks you to spring into action. It asks you to do something, and if you do something, you may recover faster. If you don't do anything, then you're gonna be in pain. You know what I mean? That type of thing. Also, Mars rules Scorpio and Aries. So them in particular, you know what I mean, are going to have to maybe they'll either have to help somebody, work with someone, or maybe somebody is going to help them out even more so. So we identified that. I want to talk about the actual Mars card. The actual Mars card for the United States is the Three of Spades in this thing. The Three of Spades is a number of things, right? And the Three of Spades oftentimes is being hit from multiple directions at once. You know what I mean? So that is Mars to the United States. So you're talking about stress, you're talking about war, you're talking about division, like people going into their little corners. That's what you're going to see. Like people going in their little corners, people dividing up. Like I'm going here, you go here, even within the same house. They may live in the same house, but they say, I'm moving in the basement. You know what I mean? Like you go stay over here. I'm going in the basement. You know what I mean? Dividing out, quadranting out your space. That's what the Three of Spades is. And on the United States level, this is a division of the United States, right? Now, the United States has this in Jupiter this year, but Jupiter is like you kind of overlook it, you take it for granted. Yeah, it's happening, but it's more on a philosophical level. Like we think philosophically we've divided, religiously we've divided, but not really physical. When it hits the Mars level, then you're talking about you stay there and I'm here and don't you cross my line or I'll shoot you. So what's been happening now is people have been going up to people's yards, right? And what happened? They're shooting them, right? You cross my thing and I'm going to shoot you. So you're going to have a lot more people getting guns, of course, right? But not only getting guns, you have a lot more people using them. Okay. And the situations that they're going to use them is if you trust you, whatever, if you come on my property, if you cross my line, I'm going to shoot you. And it's going to be a lot of women too, because the Three of Spades has a Queen of Spades in Jupiter. So you're talking about older women. And that young lady that was shot by an older woman. I wouldn't be surprised if she wasn't a spade woman, but she was shot by an older woman. So you're going to have people who are now going to want to go to war over you crossing the line, right? So earlier this year, there were balloons that they said that belonged to China, right? Floating in the sky, and they were shooting them down. Remember I said the United States has a Three of Spades in Jupiter this year. So that means like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. We just shoot it down. But when it's in Mars, that means, okay, we're invading. They don't come into our space, our airspace. We gotta mobilize. Mars is different. You know what I mean? So if you see something flying in the sky and they shoot it down now, it's going to cause a real problem. It's now going to be soldiers mobilizing to go do something and go somewhere. And it's going to make a lot of people stressed out because that Three of Spades is in Mars. People are going to be stressed out. So that's going to be a huge motivator for people to move and to seek someplace where they find more security. So that Three of Spades is interesting. Another thing with that Three of Spades is it actually is ruled by Jupiter. So what does that mean? There's going to be a lot of little work for people to do. So Jobs are going to be threatened because the nine of diamonds is in that big position up there. So there's going to be a lot of unemployment. In 1979, there were a lot of strikes. I was looking to see if there was unemployment. There wasn't unemployment. What there was there was a lot of strikes in 1979. There were a lot of people that just said, I had enough of it. You're not paying me enough. I'm going on strike." Right? So there was a lot of that going on. But with the three of spades, I like to think of the three of spades more as a contractor. You know what I mean? So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for contractors, probably even military contractors. You know what I mean? Or people who are used to being in the military space, civilian people in military spaces or military contractors. So there's going to be a lot of work available for that, for contractors. So that's with that. So there's going to be the growth of that. The growth of opportunity is going to be in the contract space. So it's going to be, but also with the three of spades, there's a danger of selling yourself short. There's a danger of being so worried that you just take multiple jobs, multiple gigs, all of these things to sell yourself short. You know what I mean? So also be aware of that. The three of spades is also the eruption of a lot of little health issues. It's in Mars. Mars deals with sex. Saturn's in Pisces. So you're going to have to look for what? You're going to have to look out for sexually transmitted diseases, period, right? You're going to have to look, and these are little nagging ones, things like gonorrhea or chlamydia, things that are curable but annoying. That's what you see with the three of spades in the Mars position. Things that are curable but annoying. You know what I mean? Those types of conditions. So again, the South Node hasn't moved out of Scorpio yet, but I told people to be careful on the sexual situation. This could also be the eruption of some new type of sexually transmitted disease. That's also something that was born around 1979. So between 1979 and 1983, that's when you had the AIDS epidemic, right? The beginning of AIDS. I believe the first established case was in 81 or something like that. But that was only like the first case. I'm pretty sure it was already being, making its rounds prior to that. It's just people didn't know what it was, just like COVID, right? So you want to be careful during this time for those types of things erupting during this time as well, because Saturn is in Pisces. And you also have this Venus retrograde, and Venus retrograde will make you regret the thing moving too fast into a physical relationship. It'll make you regret that. So knowing that everything is highly contaminated, you really want to be very careful with who you deal with during this time, during that, because the contamination is up high. This is the spread. The three of spades is the spread. And it's not only the spread of physical diseases, it's also the spread of spiritual ones. You know what I mean? So you want to be careful who you're around, because you can pick up a spiritual entity from somebody with a three of spades as well in Mars. So this is catching spiritual entities and stuff like that. Three of spades has a lot of spiritual stuff involved. So you'll have things like possessions. You'll have things like there's probably going to be a lot more or incidents of what do you call it? Sleep paralysis and those types of things going on. Things in which you feel like your body is being taken over or you're not in control of your body. So it also means that people are going to be doing things that may be out of character for them. You know what I mean? And the reason that it's out of character for them is because of those quote unquote spiritual walk-ins or stuff like that. So there's gonna be a lot more of that type of stuff, and spiritual battles are also gonna take place. So we got that three of spades. Now we got the biggie. Ace of spades. Ace of spades in Jupiter. Right? So we got a lot of spades. First of all, we got we got the four of spades, five of spades, three of spades, and the ace of spades. So this is serious, right? And Jupiter deals with foreign stuff, right? Ace of Spades sometimes can be a plot, right? So best believe with an Ace of Spades in Jupiter, someone's plotting on us. You know what I mean? Literally, like we're in the plan of somebody. Somebody has a plan to likely disrupt. Jupiter is like just disrupt everything. You know what I mean? So there is a plan. So that's what that Ace of Spades. And there's going to be a lot of transformations. There's going to be transformations of people's value system of philosophies. So this could also be people being born again. You know what I mean? Or getting initiated into new philosophical systems for them, etc. And also people leaving just to find spiritual information, it's not trying to find spiritual guidance, traveling to find to investigate and to find the answers, the answers to different things. And let's see what we got here. Also, this is critical for Sagittarius people. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a lot of transformations in Sagittarius people. This is like one big old Scorpio transit for y'all with that Ace of Spades as well. The Ace of Spades is also in a Jupiter position. Jupiter represents big business. So it's going to be a lot of acquisitions, takeovers. There's going to be secret business deals, secret business dealings, people in bed with other people, mergers, etc. That type of thing in business. Let's see what else we got here. And we got a King of Diamonds in Saturn. King of Diamonds and Saturn. That means that the king must pay. That means that the king must pay. The King of Diamonds, the banker, those people that are sitting on old money, they gotta pay. This is D-Day. This is also September. So you got September, you got a King of Diamonds there in Saturn. So perhaps maybe by the time we get to September, there's going to be some type of financial thing that goes on, some big financial something that goes on in September that is limiting in some way. And I also look at this as like the price of things going up. So we're 1979, it was a tremendous amount of inflation. So we may experience a huge jump in inflation, or the price of things are going to go up. And it makes sense with the Nine of Diamonds being in that crown position that the price of things goes up. So things get very, very, very expensive. Things like food and your basics getting very, very, very expensive. And the King of Diamonds is sitting in the Pluto position. So we know that that's challenging in some way. You know what I mean? We know that that's challenging, and we know it's something that people are going to want to change and make changes real quick because it's going to impact a lot of people. So big things. So some of the things that we've already talked about, we didn't even get to the Uranus. The Uranus is the Nine of Diamonds, and I talked about the loss of jobs or strikes, labor strikes, stuff like that. And also the evolution of Nine of Diamonds, the evolution of people, of the common people, of people of color, melanated. This is a big boom for you. This is a evolve moment for you with Uranus there. And then also we have a King of Spades and Neptune, right? And this is mental health. This is mental health. So people who have mental health challenges, this is a lot more people being institutionalized potentially in Neptune, right? This is people you love, Neptune, suffering from some serious mental issues that may come to the forefront. Remember, Saturn is in Pisces. Saturn is there crystallizing everything, making everything super clear. So people who you may not even known had mental illnesses, you may find out in this year. You're likely going to find out this year. This is also doctors with the King of Spades. Those are doctors in Neptune. So doctors might be like real worn out and taxed to the max, you know what I mean? Like literally, you may not be able to find a good doctor. You may have to be that doctor in your family's life. You know what I mean? So this is good for natural healing, natural healers and stuff like that. And also be careful with the King of Spades and Neptune. Be careful of quacks. You know what I mean? Be careful of people telling you that this is the solution to this, or this will heal you from this, or this or whatever. Be careful of that. You know what I mean? Because it's in Neptune. So, you may go down a rabbit hole. This also means in a case of any type of health issue, you want to get spiritual opinions on your health issue. Get spiritual opinions on your health issue. So they may tell you have something going on physically, but you need to go to a spiritual person to get a spiritual opinion on it with the King of Spades and Neptune. So let's see. We got a 4 clubs in Pluto. That's my card, y'all. So let's get to what is this 4 clubs in Pluto? This means that you are being prepared. You're being prepared. You're being told to get prepared. You're being told to get prepared prepare for the worst, but live like it's the best. You're being prepared. So everything that you're hearing from me, because I'm a 4 clubs, is preparing you. Take heed on those things. Because one of the most important things that are going to be for people this year is peace of mind. So that means that there's going to be something that robs you of your peace of mind. Like it's going to be so bad that you don't need money. Money ain't going to help. You don't care about money. You don't care about none of that. All you just want to have is your peace of mind. You want to have peace of mind. That's it. Period. So that's going to be something that's really, really, really important. So something that's going to go down, that's going to stress and it's going to worry people so bad that the most important thing to them is just getting mental peace. Period. You got the 2 of Hearts reward. So obviously some nice relationships are going to come out of this. You're going to discover, what's really important. Some people are going to get married. That's the 2 of Hearts reward. Some people are going to get married. Maybe I'll get married. I got a 4 clubs there. Some people can get married because they're going to be able to establish what's really important. The things that they thought was important are not going to be nearly as important as aliens and war and this and that. None of that's going to be important. So that brings people together when they throw all of that stuff out because it's not important. We got a 7 of Hearts. We got a 6 of Hearts peak. 6 of Hearts peak. Reunions. People meeting their person. You know what I mean? And the peak means you got to do important stuff. Like you got to do the work you were destined to do. You got to do the service work and whatever. It may be in those areas that you're going to meet that person who is very important to you. And this also means that people who are meant to come together are going to come together. This is also peace talks. So of course there's going to be peace talks in the world, right? However, they maybe shouldn't be trusted because it's followed by the 7 of Hearts. That's betrayal, right? So what's probably going to happen is there's going to be peace talks. The United States is going to have peace talks and they're going to think that everything is okay. And then some shit hits the fan and they get snuck. You know what I mean? Also, this is going to play out in your own life. So make sure that you put down your boundaries, even in whatever you do, because there's a chance that you get snuck or betrayed in some area. You know what I mean? It's going to be betrayals. Lots of them. But remember, I said the lesson is working together. So it doesn't mean you kicking this person to the curb. It doesn't mean you canceling this person. You won't be able to. Okay? So the transformation card is the Ace of Diamonds. Hitler. That's just one interpretation. I love y'all Ace of Diamonds. Don't be getting offended. My son's Ace of Diamonds, so I love y'all Ace of Diamonds. But the transformation card is the Ace of Diamonds. So that tells me that a lot of course, leaders are going to be made. There are going to be some new people that rise up as some serious military leaders, new people, serious, that you didn't even know they had this side of them. You know, they're going to be leading groups, leading communities, trying to get people, rally people together and, you know, follow what they got going on. You know what I mean? Come here. I got the answer. Right? And there are going to be tyrants, Ace of Diamonds on the Hitler side. They're going to be dictators. You know what I mean? People dictating what should happen. It's going to be that. It's going to be some martial kind of law put in place. There's going to dictate some things and how things should happen with the Ace of Diamonds. Okay? So there's also going to be a new beginning in the way we deal with money, the way we make money and the way we deal with money. We're giving birth to some new way of doing that. And it could be crypto. It could be new ways of doing that within crypto, like DeFi and all of that. But we're giving birth to these new ways of spending and dealing with money with each other and new ways of making money. So this was the part one, because there was so much stuff. There's even so much more stuff to go. But hopefully this part was helpful. And you're going to watch this and you're going to take notes, because there's going to be more. There's more stuff. I'm going to write stuff and put stuff out. There's more pinpointed stuff. This is more like a high level overview of some things. You know what I mean? But the lesson is the lesson is, can you firm up yourself and enrich yourself and make sure that you're strong enough and solid enough that you don't allow the torrential winds of change to stress you out and make things fall apart. You know what I mean? Literally. You will be tested. So, hey, I don't know if you wanted to add something while we like closing out, Miss K.
No, this was amazing. This was very informative. I'm loving the engagement in the chat. Everybody is tuned in, and yeah, this was beautiful. Part one, this was high level, but you dug deep. So this was beautiful.
Yeah, this is high level. I think when we come back next time, we're gonna attack some specifics, because there's some specifics that are going to be attacked. But this is just a high level kind of stuff going on. But definitely you're going to see me a lot more on YouTube. This is my YouTube moment, and this is my partner in crime, Miss K. Yeah. And you're going to see us more, and we're going to be talking about more cardology and more artificial intelligence, and all of these things that y'all been asking me questions about are going to be right here on YouTube. So I look forward to that, y'all. I look forward to kicking it with y'all more on YouTube. So
yes, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.